Hello and welcome to Tarot Electric. I am Mary Schock. I'm going to offer you all universal wisdom and guidance from tarot for the highest good. And we got the Magician. This is a card for you, the listener, in this present moment that extends throughout time and space, limitless, delivered to you now. This is what the universe wants you to hear, the Magician. This is a card of beginnings, it's luck, it's a blessed card, and it's asking you to study, gather tools, gather your energy from the universe and bring it here into this world. And this is all something that is available to you in this time. So keep working hard. It's great for new beginnings. You don't have to stick to one path. You can gather all the tools, study everything, and it's just really, really blessed. So the Magician tells me that a lot of energy is available, and we simply have to harness it for our greatest good, and we can really make some magic. Perfect card for today's podcast because I had an amazing conversation with my good friends, magical people, Alexandra D'Agostino and Victor FM. Two of my absolute favorite Baltimore artists and beings of light and shadow, and we talk about it all in this interview conversation. We talk about organized versus solitary magic, sex with demons, and a little bit of everything in between. So thank you so much to Victor and Alex for joining me. Check out links to their sites on social media in the show notes, and blessed be.
I knew how to shop on special, and I knew how to make things way less. Because that's what you're supposed to do.
I made
is
a
easier
black
if you get in bulk.
soup once, which was really
That
good.
was so good.
The
It was black
soup.
rice, and the chicken was black.
Ooh, that sounds witchy.
Mhm.
It was.
Yeah.
It was really juicy. I love a good witch soup.
Witch soup.
Yes. Sort of like rune soup.
Yeah.
Soup.
You should
Wait,
listen
are
to
we
Rune Soup.
recording already?
Yeah, we are, but I don't think we'll put any of this on.
Oh, 'cause it's
not
not
yet,
worthy.
probably. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll probably talk forever and then really get into some. But we
That's
can
one
put
of the
this
nice
on.
things about podcasts, though, is when you hear people just having conversations, and you're the clanky noise.
Perfect. We'll definitely keep that in.
I remember when Jose was doing his podcast experiment, and I was cooking breakfast, so he had to have the phone right next to the food, and he's make clanking noises. It's okay.
I think the podcast is a cool format because you don't have to be dressed up. It's just your voice, so you can do it.
I could be naked right now.
You could be totally naked. No one would know.
I'm naked.
Because I
right
thought
now.
about maybe making videos too, but I was I don't want to have to look okay on camera every time.
Skyclad Mary.
What?
Skyclad. That's the witchy word for nudity, I guess. Wiccans who are we're doing our ritual skyclad.
I did not know if
Wait,
that's
sky what?
Skyclad. That's what
Skyclad.
Gardanian.
Oh, skyclad.
Yeah. That's what
Cute.
Gardanian witches call it when they're doing their Wiccan ceremonies.
I've heard that before.
And you're not supposed to have tattoos if you're legit old school Wiccan, apparently.
What?
Oh, really?
Bullshit.
I think being a religion-based witch is very complicated. I feel it's not a religion as much as a practice or a way of being. But I guess it can be.
Or a doctrine.
Yeah, I'm the whole idea of Summerlands, the Wiccan version of heaven, I don't know. It just seems trying to create an alternative to Christianity, which isn't bad, but to me that's not what it is. I think it's fascinating when you meet people who are witches, but they also pray to Jesus, and they're very religious. I'm that's complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it may be. Yeah, a lot of people feel I guess the whole witchcraft thing is a response or a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
But like, and then you have the religious people who are like, no, it's not a response or reaction. It's actually older than Christianity, so it couldn't possibly be a reaction, right?
The old they're like the blanket.
The old religion.
The old religion.
Right? And then it's like, but then it's like, wait, okay, we've gone through all of this shit. Let's look back. Okay, great. We've seen what religions do. Great. Why would we go back there?
It's also, sometimes I think about like the identity of like a witch being very, not like in a parallel way, like how ancient Greek culture had a different manifestation of queerness or homosexuality than like we do now. So like what is a witch now and what was a witch then are different, but they have there's a history, a trajectory, if you will, but not, I don't know. I mean, although I do like those biblical witches. I'm like, ooh, you're crazy.
I think it's really fun to combine like a pagan or witch practice with like Christianity.
I've been really into the saints lately.
The saints are amazing.
I forget the name. There's a saint of witches that was a witch or a sorcerer that then gets converted. And I'm like, yes.
Oh, I want to know who that is.
I'll have to find it.
Yeah. But definitely the organized, like, pagans have never been something that resonates with me. And not that I think it's wrong for anyone. And maybe, like, my opinions will change later as I grow. But, like, doesn't Wiccan come from, like, long, like, big picture term? It stems from the Golden Dawn. It's like they're all connected.
But it's what it is. Sure. I think it was like Alexander, Gardner or whatever, who was a Golden Dawn person, or was it for branches off from it to create it with that?
And then created Wiccan, right?
Wiccan was also the old way of saying
witch, right?
Witch or something.
There is a person in Salem, Massachusetts, Matthew Venus, who is like a page spiritist. It's an Arcanum. I don't know what that means. What is that?
Like sacred, hidden, no. Like super.
Like in tarot, like the Arcana, the major Arcana.
Yeah, it's like hidden.
It's like hidden volume.
Arcane.
Very well educated, practicing witch. Although he's not like of one thing, but he knows a lot about all the different histories of it. And his take on it is always really funny. Like he kind of rolls his eyes at like the Laurie Cabot, like official witches, Salem witches. And then, like, he's like, I mean, Satanists are just kind of like, fuck you, we're witches. I was like, that's clever. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's always an evolving thing. And I think right now I go back and forth where I'm like, because it's so popular and because you can be such like a cyber witch and like all you really need to do is be like, got these new cards, gonna like, some sage, charge my amethyst under the full moon.
The trendy.
Arcane, understood by few, mysterious or secret.
Life goals. But, I don't know. It's like, all of that's there, but then it's like, in the way that like social media can create like this like false reality of what is like echoing something that's real. It's interesting. Like, I wonder, similar to like the 60s, or like in the 70s, like there was that like explosion of witchcraft and magic. Like I think that's what's happening again right now. I don't know. There's a guy who has like all of his father's old tarot cards that were popular in the 70s. Like he has like a Chinese dynasty tarot card deck and all that shit. He knows all like it has come back like really hardcore.
Yeah. Does it piss you off to see? Do you ever like see people that you're thinking like, oh, you're just like an Instagram witch or something? Do you get mad about it sometimes?
Sometimes I do. Well, you know what I get mad at is like when I go to the yoga studio and like there's like this one girl that was like talking about how she's like, I feel like I should like do a class about witchcraft and yoga, and then she saw that I was doing my witch yoga thing and she was like, oh, I guess you should do that. You probably know more about it because you're a witch or whatever. But the way she started talking about witchcraft is a very like type A personality, like this is how you're supposed to read tarot cards. This is how you're supposed to do this. This is how you do this. And I'm like, I think it's like back and forth. It's the same. I think it's similar to how I feel about people who like jump into yoga. It's like if it's meaningful to you and you're being harmless about it, that's one thing. But if you're, I think it's just like it's such an ancient thing that you're connecting to one way or the other that like if it's a vanity, it won't be as powerful. It doesn't matter, you know?
True.
Kind of like, but at the
It's
same
like
time,
self-selective.
yeah, but then it's also like, I think of like that cheesy scene in Practical Magic when like they just invite all the women over because they like, we just need a group of people with their energy. I'm like, if there's more people that are into that belief right now, like, sometimes belief is, you might not deep down inside think you believe it, but if you're like in that kind of like collective environment where you believe it, I'm like, that's helpful sometimes. Like I think about like the Trump spell,
Right?
But no, I do think the internet is good and bad for magic. I think that it exposes more people. It helps more people realize that they might have the ability. Like I think we all can be connected to an intuitive way of being. But then there's also like, I don't know. That's funny. Like I was showing Victor the Vice documentary about the witches in Romania, which if you haven't seen,
Oh my god, the old
she would love it.
witch is. Oh my god, you haven't seen it?
Mary.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna put it on my to-do list.
It will like really make.
We could just watch it.
Just watch
We
it.
should, it's
Oh,
so
okay.
funny because they're like it's I mean, Romanian witches are like the government fears them. Like no one fucks with them. Like you'll love it.
I went to Baltimore's Reclaiming Beltane ritual. Have either of you ever been?
Is Michael Rob in it?
Yes.
I know him through like I've met him once with
Instagram.
yoga and Instagram. I know him. He used to come to the yoga.
On Instagram.
He's really sweet.
A cool artist, it seems. Like
Oh my
the
God,
work that I've
yeah.
seen is very cool.
Yeah, he told me about that group, and I never got back to him about being involved in it or not. But
They're kind of like the organized coven. You
that's
know?
what I've heard. Who's in it?
I became friends with a bunch of cool people from it, like on Instagram and stuff. And then this was the first ritual that I've ever been to, so I was able to meet some folks.
Are they an older generation? Or?
It seemed like a mix, but definitely like a lot of young people and like people our age.
Who? I don't even know.
I'd have to I'll show you their Instagrams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always
Like
weird to me.
Jess runs it. A woman named Jess. Well, she doesn't run it. I mean, it's a collective, you know. But so there were like all different types of people there and like age ranges. But it seemed like the people that were like running the ritual were more like close to my age probably and
How was
younger. It was great, but it was super intense, and it was an experience where I definitely felt pressure to have fun because the whole thing was like fairy, and it was like connecting to the fae, and it was silent. Well, it was non-vocal. It was not silent. It was super, super loud, but it was like drumming and shouting and like all non-verbal. And it was like this like crazy
non-English.
Let me know next time you go
Yeah.
to
okay.
thing they have. I'd be
Will
curious
do.
to go.
It was
That's
pretty
amazing.
I'm such not a coven witch. I'm so like
cool. Solo.
on my own.
Solitaire.
I tried to start a coven once.
How'd it go? Do you want to talk about it?
I mean, I still talk.
Thanks for the
Spencer.
invite. Okay.
You met Spencer.
Yeah, of course.
Spencer and I had.
Okay.
I guess we still have one, sort of. But
You were
we
young,
don't.
huh?
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
I know you then.
No, it was like high school or something, or maybe college. No, yeah, college, high school, like that.
I feel like I've never found a group of people who I like have the same beliefs or energetic.
But that's the
connection.
thing. That's why it didn't take off, because we were making the belief structure together. And it was mostly based off of my work, because they were like really into Hermetic stuff.
Mhm.
Like Spencer knows the Kabbalah,
Wow.
from fucking back to, I don't know. He really knows the Kabbalah. He taught me most of that. He's the person who taught me most of it.
I feel like I do want to learn more about the Kabbalah.
Oh my god, I have this book that you should read.
It would be fun to know. I've come from such folk intuitive, just woods and sticks and bones and shit.
I know. I still don't know I've read so much, and I still couldn't tell you.
You could study your
You know,
whole life.
I
Yeah,
know.
That's the thing about that stuff that I'm like, do I want?
It's
to
like
go down that road of
astrology.
magic?
So deep.
Or like people who get really
Right.
into like ancient like Solomon Seal sigil work. It's like
Oh my
so intense.
God.
There's a guy on
That's so
Instagram,
insane.
Man Ink or something like that.
Gay? What?
Man Ink or something. No, it's all like it's like gay porn sigil imagery. It's beautiful. but
Wait,
it's-
what? Can you send it to me?
Yes, he knows a lot, and he's like a collector of all of the old obscure books.
That sounds
And
great.
he always like his imagery. It's like kind of, but it's that like universe of scholar magic, which isn't completely my thing. Like he's in the Goetic or whatever.
Goetic?
Goetic, which what is that? Like that's just basically demons.
Demons, yeah.
But it's demons in the old
In
English, so
Solomon,
in the way that they're
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not like.
spirits.
It's
not
Solomon's,
This will be his work.
Solomon's.
That's cool.
Let me see.
It does. Look
Oh, cool.
Or where's one that's like really?
There's a whole story about Solomon.
That's kind of
Like it's from
the wicked man.
Uh-huh.
like Solomon doing this ritual, King Solomon doing these rituals and like imprisoning them,
Like
burning their sigils and shit like that.
Wow.
job.
Oh, let me see.
That's so beautiful. Both of your artwork deals with sexuality in a way that I think is really magical and
Oh, this is
like
just like
radical.
Elijah Berger.
it is like that. I do like making sexy magic. Like look at that. That dick has all sorts of sigils on it. I'm like that's intense.
Is that a dildo or?
I think it's. I don't know. I think it's a
Oh,
demon.
you think it's a demon?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I sometimes really love. I think
You know, I've had a sex. I mean, I like to believe that I've had sex with a demon before,
Thanks.
a couple times. Sweetie.
Oh. Yeah. No, I love all that shit. Like that's cool.
I would be scared. Do you want to talk about that experience? You don't have to
Sure.
if you don't want to.
Sure.
By demon, do you just mean spirit, or do you think it was
Not.
like
It
love
wasn't a
spirit?
demon. It was kind of like a god, like a fire god. But I feel like a god can't. Like I feel like I would die if I had sex with a god. I think a demon's a more palpable thing. You know. It's
Mhm.
like more down to our level.
Yeah.
That stuff.
Or
is,
maybe it was like a god in disguise, like how Zeus would
Yeah,
like become like a lower being, but if you saw
Sure.
Zeus, then you would die.
Sure. It was just like, basically it was like me, a whole bunch of candles, a whole bunch of spells, and like a mirror. And then like, I saw it there and I made this like clay terracotta dick.
Yeah.
And you know what happened, you know, and then as like I was like reciting the whole thing over and over, and then like the whole other thing was I did this thing where I actually did a performance with the same thing, and I passed out on stage. But I think it was because of the environment, because the environment was like very charged. It was Ida, you know, and it was like very charged, and people were really paying attention to it because people were there for that kind of shit, you know, in some sort of way. And I had candles in between my fingers, and it was really cute, sort of. And,
Oh, good old.
and Luia, you know Luia? Dude,
Yeah.
she was performing with me, and you know, she was just because Luia is like
That person is intense.
is intense. She has so much power in her. It's crazy.
It's so crazy.
It's
Have you
insane.
ever
I think that's
They're
why
like
I passed out.
Fiery, like redhead Lilith.
I think
energy,
that's why.
but
Yeah,
they're
so Lilithy.
But they're so healing.
Lilithy.
They're like such a.
They're
They make
so
you feel
heal-
so safe.
Yeah, I like basically like my knees went to the floor, passing out, like half passing out. You know, like my eyes went like over, like I was like taken over by this thing somehow. Whatever.
Sex magic.
But she was just
It's a
like,
vulnerable place to put yourself.
yeah.
It's necessary, I think, sometimes.
Brave, yeah.
And like Lee was in the audience too, and I was like, ooh, fuck,
Child.
my ex.
But sex magic is like really powerful, but you also have to be really careful about it, right? I mean, I feel like if you're doing it solo, then like that's probably the healthiest way to do it.
Oh, I got lucky that night.
But it's like once you start like talking about sex magic, then you get into weird realms of like if you're performing sex magic with another human being, then it can get really, sketchy, really
I
bad.
feel like even solo sex magic can be really. It's so charged. It's like you're using. It's like Miracle Grow. I feel like I don't know. I feel like using semen.
I love that.
Is really. There's certain times when I like put things. It feels like like there's. It's like that. Once you cross the line, you can't uncross it. It's like the floodgate gets open, and there's a few instances where I've done that, and I felt like the repercussions would be pretty severe, or like the way that the energy that would be summoned, it was like you can't unwish it almost, and that to me is always like the hard thing to do. But I think it's powerful. I don't know. I use semen a lot in rituals.
Yeah.
Very carefully though. Now.
I did not. I was not careful.
Remember you had the fancy paint.
Yeah, I've had like that paint been like I've had it used communally.
Yeah.
In rituals.
I like feel weird when I've like combined a variety of viscera like blood and semen and like spit and things like that. Always feels, and I have to be careful because I do a lot of my energy and my ritual work I do for family or for friends, and I like don't.
Like I'm not careful with that shit. And unfortunately, I don't. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know if that's a thing.
Column A, column B.
What?
Column A, column B. It's probably both.
All both.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think that it's wise to be like cautious in all magic making, really.
Yeah,
and that's
like
because I believe that it's real.
And I think I remember like talking about conjuring once, and like Victor, you had mentioned that like even just thinking and starting to speak about things puts it out there. And I've had to catch myself a few times where it's like, because when you know how to conjure and cast on it's such a part of you, it's like sometimes you don't mean to and it just happens.
Yeah.
I remember I did I put like a really vile statement out on Facebook about like the government, and it was like a very intense kind of curse without me thinking about it that way. And then someone was like, my boyfriend and I recited your curse with the black candle, and I was like,
wow.
Oops. But sometimes I think that like when certain things have to be released, I don't know, for me, like I feel like being a trickster, I feel like that's what I'm naturally drawn to. It's like things where it's like, this is a friend they brought home with me, I don't know who they are, but I don't know how they came with me, but here they are. And so I have to like back off that stuff sometimes. But I was telling you, like when I got the Aligula head, and like the day after I got the Aligula head, there were like 2 bags of candy right by the stream in my parents' backyard, and I was like, and I threw it away, and I was like, I should have kept it, but I'm like, no, I really shouldn't have. Like I don't know. That was weird. That was interesting. Magic.
Do you feel like it's hard to be such a magical person and be like public about it, so that like everyone in your life on Facebook like knows?
I think people. Well, I've noticed people like. I don't think people know how serious it is for me. I think like they see. I don't really post too much. Like my rituals are not like. I try not to document them too much. I might have images of shrines. I'll like take a picture of a card, but like. I think it's like I think people would be like, you're fucking crazy if they knew like the shit that I do. That's the thing.
I don't do it. I think I'm scared of posting stuff.
It's like I think certain things. I went through like making certain spells that I do feel like the internet has helped us access certain kinds of energy that it's actually okay to put energy out there. But it's like anything, you have to be careful with what you're doing. I think the people that know the most about my magic, I think you know the most. I think you have a good understanding of it. Noelle has a really good understanding of what I do. And Noelle is very much an energy worker. She's coming from a very like Christian-based place of magic, but I mean, she knows she's
Christian.
She is in a very powerful. I mean, she has the gift of tongues, and her grandmother is she's a dream person, and she has this relationship. Like her great grandmother is 97 years old, and she still goes. Noelle still has to go to her with her dreams, and her grandmother always gives her this like specific ointment and this specific potion. But it's like, and that's where I'm fascinated. Where like I think why like just putting things in the category of like witch or shaman or healer can be tricky because it's ultimately like taking information and processing it in different ways.
Yeah.
But it's the thing. I have, but yeah, I don't know. Remember, like, yeah, this season's been really good magically. My parents' backyard is where I do most of my magic now, though, because it's like so much energy. There's like creatures always there, like snakes and crows and cardinals and some scary ass fox and like all these different plants in the creek. And I feel like I don't know. I remember around the tarot time that was like there was some really intense stuff being charged. I remember doing like a really heavy ritual, and I like used a lot of cards and stuff. I haven't actually that deck of cards that I brought and talked about. Like I haven't really been reading them very much. They're like still bound in like a thing. Like sometimes it's like I won't read the cards for like 2 years that I use all the time because they're like not ready to be used. So that's why I'm like I need a new deck because I'm like I can't read those cards right now.
I rotate between the decks that I have.
I'm really excited about this new deck that I'm gonna get. Like, this is gonna be it.
Tarot of the Otherworld.
Or the
pagan Otherworld.
Yeah, and the bastard deck I like because you can get it in bridge size, and I like it. You can get them either the big ones, the regular size, but I'm like I want like the small. Like,
I don't like the bridge, the regular playing cards.
That for me personally will work. I think, and that's just
because you like throwing them around.
I used to do like magic with things, so I really like shuffling with one hand. I can shuffle a deck with one hand. That's a bigger deck.
I like the bigger cards, the better. I just love how like.
If it's the size of the book, yes.
I would love. You see, I would love that.
Did you see the thing? It was unfair. I don't know if I posted it. I don't know if I had seen it from you or someone, but it's this guy in Italy who has like, you know what I'm talking about?
I saw that. Yeah.
He has like a beautiful. He makes like beautiful hand painted cards, and they come in these like gorgeous boxes, and it's like
I want a gilded tarot.
That's like that.
Yeah,
they're gorgeous.
Like an actual like relief.
Yes, that's what he had. They're gorgeous. I'm sure they're like you can't even buy them online. Like
no, you have to go.
You have to go to.
But
Italy.
You could talk to Michael M. Hughes because he's been, I think.
Oh really?
Yeah, or at least knows of it.
Wow.
I think he might have been. I shouldn't say what he's done.
No, I've been really connected to your deck though. It's been a very, very powerful, helpful deck, and I think it's part of it is like to me like energy from people that I know.
Yeah.
Like that's part of how cards work. Like the cards that all the cards I read have been like gifts from people. You know, like the first deck I read was from my mom, and I still have it. It's like in a box that my father's wedding watch was in, and wrapped in my grandmother's like silk. And then like your deck is like with me wherever I go, and it's very useful. And I read it like sometimes before I teach a class. I'm like, read, no.
It makes me really happy that you're using the deck.
I love it.
Thank you so much.
It's a great deck. It has a lot of. I love that it has so much information for me to read, and I don't normally like. I once in a while I'll read like what the book itself says, but for me reading is so like it's what I get. But I really like your conversation about the devil too. I'm like that's helpful. That's a nice. I got that card recently, and that was like it's funny how like. You always like know the card you're gonna get before you get it sometimes.
Yes.
It's a weird.
Oh my god.
Thing.
Yep.
That's for sure. The devil is really interesting because I grew up in such a Catholic environment, right? The devil's the card that scares me the most.
Same.
And it scares me more than any of the other like scary looking cards. And it always has. But I'm trying to release a lot of that. And when I'm reading this Spiritist book, it has a really interesting point of view on the devil and demons, which is that if you believe in a supreme creator God that is just and good, it is illogical to believe that any being is purely evil. So in that rationality, like the devil and demons just cannot exist.
Yeah.
So instead they're just lower spirits that are just like, and spirits can only, according to this doctrine, spirits can only progress. They can't go backwards in their development. So that's just like really, it's freeing me up from being scared of the devil, which is, I think, my constant work. And
isn't it weird to undo your fear of hell?
Oh, yeah. It's
that
like,
took me until probably like 25 to stop thinking that was like
A
the
real
thing.
place.
Yeah.
Like I can like see what I would imagine hell to be like as a child, and
I would just have that like, you know what, it's gonna really happen. But at this point now, I'm like, I don't know.
That's
It's-
funny.
The fear of hell is so fascinating.
Yeah, but I'm not scared of it anymore.
No. I think it's entertaining. I really love that one like ridiculous movie, The Witch, that we saw. I was like,
I was thinking
Oh,
about
I
it
wanted to watch
today,
Oh,
actually.
I have it. It's really good.
Can we just watch that movie tonight?
It's so good. It's so good. I mean, I could watch it all the time. It's
Is
they
it
like
scary?
in a
Oh
very
my god, you
psychological-
haven't seen it?
No.
Have you seen The Exorcist?
Holy
No.
fuck.
Oh wait, I have seen
It's
that.
not.
Exorcist,
It's not
but
that
not
scary.
wild.
It's not
that
scary like
scary.
The Exorcist, but I think what it does that's similar to The Exorcist that a lot
I'm
of
not
horror
sure if
movies. Well, what I like is that it's slow and it builds a lot of energy. Like, and The Witch is very mysterious, but I was like,
Scary at all.
I loved it. It wasn't, well, it was disturbing to some people. To me, it wasn't disturbing because I'm like,
I was just laughing
it's-
my way through it.
you were, I remember we
I
saw
would be
that.
scared.
We saw it with Noelle and everyone. It was just funny because there's like some scenes where it's just like, fuck. I remember like everyone's watching it.
Noelle
like,
is so cute.
Yeah, I remember
She
there's
gets
like a
so
part.
scared.
She gets scared when
She's
she
like,
like you remember there was a part when she goes to the house and she's like, ah shit.
that's when I lost it.
Yeah,
Like I
'cause it was
couldn't. I couldn't deal with it.
She's like, oh honey, it's done. Like there's a part when she's like, I don't know how to write my name in the devil's book, and she's like, girl, it doesn't matter. It's already gone. Seeing movies with her, it's like the narrative, but no, I think the thing that's beautiful about that is it creates a film based off of the paranoia of what people thought witches were really doing in early American folklore. So a lot of it is like I remember when if you read like the Malleus Maleficarum or any of like the early books that say like what witches were doing and what women were being persecuted for,
Yeah.
that's what happened. So you're like, oh, you know, it's like it makes you believe. I don't know. And then I watched like the documentary about it, and I was like, ugh, I hate that actress now. Because she's so arrogant. She's like, I forgot that it was about a witch. I thought it was about the destruction of the American family. And I was like, shut up.
Oh,
It was about a witch. It's all about a witch. Like, everywhere. No. I don't know.
What are your other favorite witchy movies?
Hocus
or TV
Pocus.
shows?
Hocus
Oh yeah,
Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
I made my mom the Hocus Pocus book for Christmas.
Oh, like
With the eyeball and everything.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
the double
But it's
book.
gonna
Does
be
she
her
appreciate
style.
it?
Yeah, I like set it up on
Your
like a
mom must
thing.
be real cool.
She's a trip. It's funny when she's like telling all of like the family who's kind of Christian on Christmas Day. Alex made me the grimoire from Hocus Pocus, and he wants me to put out the spells that I'm going to create in it. And I'm like, yes, Mama. But I like Hocus Pocus. I love the craft.
Mm-hmm. I like Practical Magic.
I mean that movie.
Oh yeah.
Who doesn't love that
It's
movie?
really good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I remember like that really stressed me out when I was like, so Reed, you finally saw Practical Magic. He's like, it was cheesy. I'm like, that's because you're from the 90s. You're done. Like, shut up. But like in a loving way. Like, but I was just like, girl, Practical Magic's great. I always like the Angelica Houston Witches movie. Wicked Witch from the West is like a queen.
Yeah.
I think honestly, like I feel like I have that mild obsession where like it could be like a shitty ass story, but if the witch is good, I'm like, I love it.
Into it. I watched a lot of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I watched some of that.
TGIF.
Sabrina.
Yeah. I was like super.
Did you watch
into that.
Charmed?
No.
I
My
never
cousin
got-
did.
I never got into Charmed, and I started. I'm like, I probably would like it now because it would be interesting.
I know.
I really liked Coven. I thought that was. I watched that series, that American Horror Story thing,
Yeah.
so much that now when I watch it, I'm just like, this would be a great opportunity if I was in a like history of race in America class because it really like reveals a lot. But no, right now I've been reading a lot of witch books. Like I finished the book series I finished before I read the Anne Rice one. It's a Discovery of Witches series, and it's this genius writer who talks about like there's like demons spelled like D-A-E, that thing. And then
Daemons?
yeah,
Demons?
and witches, vampires, and demons, and it's all about this like spell book. It's like a palimpsest, so like the text is always changing, and it's a really interesting. Like there's time traveling in the series, and it's like it's a little cheesy, but they do it really well.
I'm into it.
I like all of that.
I read the True Blood series.
Oh, I should read that. This show
Really
is
good.
Did
the
you watch
first
the show?
couple. Yeah, I watched the show.
I stopped at the 6th season.
I stopped a couple seasons in too.
I didn't
Probably
need to
around
know.
there.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't need to see this. This is gonna hurt me too much.
But the books are like pretty worth reading.
Some-
I'd say.
Someone, Kay from, was telling me about a San Francisco queer witch story that describes magic really, really well. Because they said it was like the most accurate to what magic is really like, where it's not these palpable like sparks shooting out of people's fingers, but the sort of energetic feelings that you get from magic. And I was like, I like the TV show The Magicians, even though it's corny.
I watched the first season.
It's so corny, but it's so good. I love the Heads Witches though.
I've never seen it.
It's
Worth watching.
It's worth. Yeah, it's funny. They cast spells with their hands, so it's a lot of like. They use no. It's like It would be like, all right, hold on. No, they're like, okay, hold on. I need to do the spell.
Oh yeah. And it's got like a Narnia influence too, which I love Narnia, so I was like into it.
That witch was amazing. The best. I thought the execution of Aslan and the newer one, Matilda Swinton. I was like, yes, please. But
the hand thing is also like the OA. Did you watch that series on Netflix?
No. Do they do that?
The movement becomes like a vehicle for magic. It's pretty interesting. Actually, maybe you can both watch it and then tell me, because I have thoughts about it, so we can chat about it together. Yeah, it's pretty magical. It's really intense. So, I would just say, like, if you're ready to watch it. Like,
the Magicians, the last episode, when they reviewed the rape scene, is, like, so intense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's, like, at the end of that season, I just was like, I can't watch this anymore.
Oh, it's, like, a really intense. And then the whole second season works through that. But there's, like, a woman gets, like, raped by a trickster god.
Yeah.
It's very graphic.
It's really graphic.
But it's
very upsetting.
It's very upsetting, but the way that they also reveal, like, the way that they, even though it's, like, so fantasy and sci-fi, like, It felt very, like, that element of it, not, like, the magic school, but, like, the, like, hedge witch culture felt very real to me. I'm like, at some points, I'm like, this is, like, being a witch copycat, basically. You know, that, like...
Do you guys want to talk about copycat energy? How do you feel being out of it?
Free.
I'm not totally out of it. I'm still dealing with some bullshit.
It feels like the copycat feels like it feels like it tries to capture you. Like that's
right.
I mean, I'm still dealing with it.
It's a bottomless well.
There's so much death in there, and there's so much pain and demons.
There's also so much creation, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's
I think it's just this.
I'm grateful that I live there. I had nostalgia for it yesterday. Hardcore.
I don't have nostalgia for it.
I was surprised. I was like,
and I'm like,
you lived there much longer than me, though.
I feel that one day when I do have nostalgia, I might feel really sad, but I'm probably not. I'm not. I just need to like write that in my brain right now, or cast a spell for it.
It could be good to feel sad about things. That just means that
I just don't want to, because when I feel sad, like there's a chance I'll feel sad for a very long time, because that's how I feel sadness. And
I wish I could give you my pointless optimism sometimes, because I'm just like, hey, there's a death in the family. Let's be happy today.
No, I'm like a Pisces rising and a Jupiter in Pisces, so like I feel sadness. Like I feel sad. Like
that resonates.
Very happy to be a Gemini in that sense.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Like,
you're lucky.
I have Taurus
and I'm
energy.
an Aquarius sun, which sun and moon and Mercury, which means I feel sad.
I noticed that I thought that like I had severe anxiety, and that's what's like I was smoking weed, and sometimes when I would take a break from it, I would get so depressed that I was like, oh my god, this is horrible. And now I'm not depressed like I thought I would be. So I don't know. That's an interesting thing to have noticed.
And your dreams are vivid, because that happened to me too.
Do you not smoke at all?
Still not smoking.
Someone explained it to me, like, because I was like, oh, I wonder why. It's pretty simple. It's like you go into a different brain frequency, like when you're smoking weed, so you don't process dreams. So when you dream at first, like, I don't know about you, but like I sweat a lot when I'm first not smoking weed, and it's because you're panicking. It's not a chemical thing, it's a panic reaction, because your brain is like, what is this that I'm seeing in the middle of the night? I'm not used to seeing things. So it's like a stress response to like dreaming, which I'm like, that's kind of cool.
But now, do you feel like you've gotten past that stress response and now you're like getting the dreams? Like, how do you feel about your dream life?
I'm dreaming. My dream life seems just as real as my real life.
Mm-hmm.
That resonates with me.
I think about
like
my dreams
still to this day.
Every
Like
day.
I have like really intense dreams every day.
That's one thing I like keeps me from not wanting to smoke again. It's because I'm like I was gonna consider like smoking a little tonight, and I was like, but these dreams I've been having feel so like.
I want to smoke tonight.
I always want to, but I'm a Gemini. I'm like, yeah, sure, but no. But I don't know. It's just like something about like visiting this other world, Victor. You crack me up.
Just a joint.
Yeah, I might smoke tomorrow night. So if I do that,
tomorrow night is tomorrow night.
You'd be missing out on all those sweet dreams. Just kidding. Like, obviously.
No, I actually want to live more in this life, to be honest.
That's like a reason I think weed was so helpful to me as a younger person, and why I started smoking so much is because I was having nightmares a lot. I would have dreams that would be so real. I didn't feel connected to this world. So, like, and I was having insomnia. So, like, smoking weed was helping me sleep, and not remembering the dreams was just a bonus, you know?
It's weird. Like, weed actually, like, well, like, sativa, if I smoke sativa, I can't sleep. And I'm like,
exactly. That's same with me.
Sativa makes me really anxious, but if I'm in the right space for it, it's the...
Exactly.
It's
a party drug almost.
I liked it more as I liked it as an upper fun, once in a while party thing, and I think, I don't see myself being, like, completely done with cannabis. I just think that, for me, I would wake up to teach, like, 5, 6 a.m. yoga and smoke weed, and then I'd come back and smoke weed. And then before I went to go teach another class, I'd smoke weed. So the fact that it was, like, all the time perma-stoned, I felt like that was unproductive.
That's not good.
And I felt like, and I feel like that's the habit that I can fall into.
Same.
And in my instinct, I had always had this weird thing where I'm like, I have to do some kind of ritual with the plant itself, where I, like, offer it to, like, the earth. And it never really, like, and I always thought about it for years. Like, for years I've been wanting to do this one ritual. And then it happened last week when I was at my parents' house. I just took my grinder and I, like, poured it in my mom's garden without even thinking, but it just happened. And it's just like, there's no stress about it. Like, I feel a little bit of the anxiety and, like, that, like, Jumanji, like, beat where it's like, smoke, but I'm not plagued by it. I don't feel like, I don't know. It just, for me, I think I want to get back to that point where it can be, like, a once-in-a-while chill thing. But I know when I take breaks from it, like, every time I go back, it's like I feel more of, like, the weird symptoms. I'd rather, honestly, like, trip shrooms and, like, go hard with it.
Or maybe eat cannabis too. Like, what if we're just doing edibles? I mean, I don't know when I'm gonna start consuming cannabis again, or if I will. But
I know someone. Yeah.
But edibles can be like a
nice
shroom trip kind of experience too. They can be way more spiritual sometimes. I don't know. It depends on the person.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pro cannabis. I think anyone who wants to smoke should do it.
Yeah.
But
I think it's lovely.
I think we should smoke tonight as a ritualistic thing.
I can't with you, Victor.
I do. I would miss my dreams, because now my dreams, they feel so real, and I do think that it's like, I'm not even looking at my dreams as like metaphors for stuff going on in this world. Like, I really think that my dreams are a glimpse into what my soul is doing while my body's resting.
I feel the same way. That's how that's exactly how I feel.
But I can understand wanting to get out of that. I totally get it.
I feel so physical in my dreams. Like, I think the dancer in me is so
everything.
I feel like that's part of it. I feel like I wake up and I'm like, did I just dance? Like, my body feels like
exactly. Like, no.
And that's the thing I think fascinates me. Or like, I fly a lot lately. That's been kind of cool.
Yeah, flying. Oh my god.
I've been flying.
That's cool.
I don't know.
Earlier today, I was like napping on that couch over there, and then like Al makes these like really big shadows when he turns on that corner into the every time. And that's often, right? Like outside of the dream.
Mm.
And then the dream, he made the big shadows. And I'm like, oh, Al's turning the corner in the hallway and coming in. But the thing is, the thing that came out after was like a person dressed up as Al.
An Al impersonator?
like a human being dressed up as Al, yeah.
That's so weird.
And I'm like, wait, what? I have to wake up for this, like, because this is very.
It's weird how dreams make you wake up. When you wake up from a moment,
right.
That's when I'm always. I woke
and the
up,
thing is, like, I was just like on the same angle. You know what I mean? Like in the same exact angle, like as if my eyes were open the whole entire fucking time.
So you're just like seeing through.
Yeah.
Which it might have been I was alone. You know.
I always have like I remember when I was like going through some really intense migraine, anxiety when I was like after sophomore year of school. I remember like having this dream. And I was in this like circle with all these people. It was like a healing circle, and I was making paintings on Durlar of all these like entities that I channeled, and they were all in the dream, but they didn't. It's like that thing where like you know what it is in your dream, but like if you were to like there was no form, they were all just light on this plastic, and then there's this woman wearing a turquoise dress putting my other grandmother's wooden knitting needles in this thing that looked like a sternum with beads on it. And I woke up and the room was drowning with light, and my mom was kissing me before she went to work, and she was wearing all turquoise and had like a red beaded necklace on.
Oh.
And I remember that kind of stuff was like fascinating to me.
So
you and your
detailed.
tiramisu is so funny.
Perfect.
I love it. I just think it's so cute.
Welcome to my home.
So into it. Well, I've been having dreams for the past like month or maybe more where I'm babysitting. And it's always like a different environment and different children, but I'm doing childcare in my sleep.
Oh
and
my
I
God,
truly
you're
believe
taking
that that's
care.
my sole job right now on the other side is to be, like, I'm watching babies for some reason. It's kind of crazy.
That's hilarious.
It's fucking funny. It happens all the time.
That is so.
It happened 2
funny.
nights ago.
It's so interesting. I don't know. It's gonna be fun when we're all like in our 50s. I feel like you're gonna be such like you're gonna be such a when you're gonna be a fierce crow.
I can't wait to be old.
You know what
this? So great.
You know what the spiritist say, right?
Tell me
about dreaming.
Yeah, I just read that section, but will you tell me?
Yeah. No. You just read the section.
That it's our bodies resting,
First
but the
of all,
soul
it's
never
all
rests.
real.
It's all real. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah,
So
it's all real. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Like your spirit gets out of your body.
Mm-hmm.
Only if you achieve a specific dream, sleep, like frequency, like.
Yeah, it's like only if your body's really resting enough, because your body has to be in complete rest for your spirit to like be able to travel. But you're always connected.
Hey, guess what? I watched this YouTube video that explained to me that my Kundalini was awakening, and it's totally true.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have this like really insane feeling in my chest, and it's like it's a feeling that if I let it take over me, I like will like have 111. It will like go crazy, you know.
You should talk to Avatar because
like I will go like
it's
you were all
you don't know.
Practices.
Yeah, I think so.
It is really scary because you feel like you don't know if it's a panic attack or if it's like a really insane something.
I always see like really intense blood vessel energy thing.
Really?
It's so scary.
It's weird. I think that's the thing I don't like about Kundalini at the Yoga Work Studio is like the effect that it has is authentic, but the community is such bullshit.
I think like the goal. I'm not an expert, but I think like, you know, if you're a Kundalini yogi and you're practicing, then you can like achieve this kind of awakened Kundalini in a like slow and careful and like controlled way, you know. But if you're just like surprised my Kundalini's awakening, like that sounds super scary to me, and I've seen friends go through it. I just want to say thanks to both of you for like recording and having fun. I feel like we've talked about a bunch of really cool stuff. Yeah, we'll do it again, right?
Yeah, no, this will be fun.
Alex, do you want to share with anyone who might be listening, like how they can find you and like anything you have coming up? Do you have any plugs?
It depends on when you're releasing this, but on Monday I'm performing in New York City at the Queens Bronx Museum for Internet Performance Art Festival.
Amazing.
7 to 10, and then on the 20th from 4 to 10. I don't know exactly what time I'll be going, but it's a performance art festival. It will be cool. You can find me on Instagram. My handle is xxglitterwitchxx, where I will always be promoting my yoga classes, my body, and my dance practice. I also have another account, Tolbert D'Agostino Dance, Tolbert D'Agostino _dance, where I show the dance that I build with my dance partner, Noel Tolbert.
Amazing.
AlexanderD'Agostino.com.
You're the best.
Do what I can.
It's just an honor to be your friend.
It's an honor to be your friend, too. It's fierce. I love when I, like, bring my cards out and people are like, where'd you get those? I'm like, I don't know, your baby's cards. They're like, I don't want those. I'm like, well, you'll get them at the Bazaar.
Yes, let them know. As much as I think, like, I just love when you share that, you know, you knowing me having created the cards, like, ups their energy for you. But I also think that everyone who's reading with the cards, like, the energy that you're putting into them, it ups it for everyone else using them. So, like, thank you for working with them, because I think it just enhances the energy for all of the decks that are out there, the fact that they're getting used and loved.
Almost like the non-hashtag or something, you know, like it's like connected, like the summer tarot.
Yeah.
Tarot.
Okay, Victor, thank you so much for chatting.
Oh,
do you want to put out any plugs? Where can we find you? What are you doing?
Right now I'm being a hermit.
Besides serving delicious tiramisu. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What are you up to?
I have a social media account.
What is it?
What is it, Alex? You tell me.
I'm a Daedon or something.
Yes, I'm a Daedon. Right? A-M-A. D-E-D-A-O-N.
I'll put a link.
Amadeadon. If you can't spell that, then just
you don't
kidding.
want it.
Just kidding. Then right? That's my.
I'll put a link in the show notes.
Fuck off.
It's just A-M-A-D-E.
You can find all of us in the dream world.
A-D-E-O-N.
Great. Yeah, come hang out with us on the astral plane.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I'm a shadow worker. You might see me in the dark underrealms.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I don't really have anything coming up right now. I might be going back to my YouTube channel thing.
Please do.
Tarot Marrow.
Yes, please do. Tarot.
Yeah. I'm in just one of those introspective phases, you know.
No, I totally get it.
People have to go
Shadowing
through.
the hermit. That's how we get shit done.
I hope so.
Yeah, internal growth.
I'm not sure work is being a socialite, but I like the character in the TV show The Magicians, the hermit. He was like the guy with like the ponytail when they go to like petition. He was so scary, but so like fierce. When they go into like the underground, the Our Lady of the Underground. He's like the You know, like a soup, or you know, like a shake guy.
Kind of remember that part. Honestly, I feel like I'm watching so much media these days and like TV, and I'm watching so quickly. I like don't fully
That show, I
remember
think
any of it.
I'm only watching like hermetic crap.
That's cool.
That's the only reason why I can't.
You should watch Sense8. It's so addicting.
Oh, I want to get it.
I'm not watching any media.
I'm watching a lot of TV, so.
All I'm watching is like Infinite Waters.
I watched The
and,
Blacklist with my mom.
And like we're creators, and like I'm watching like people talk about like crazy affirmations and magic and spells. That's
I'm on
all I'm
Pornhub a lot.
watching.
Cosmic.
That's all I'm watching.
Pornhub. I watched a video
It's also on
of a
Pornhub.
satanic.
Just kidding.
Find us on Pornhub. I was watching a video as a satanic
For my
orgy.
comments.
It was really hot. It was
Oh,
a
that's
priest.
cute.
He
Satanic
was a
orgy.
priest. He kind of looked like Blue. He was this priest, though, getting the shit fucked out of him by all these men with like pig masks and clown masks. It's like, this is really hot in a scary way.
I go to Queer Me Now.
Queer, is that a page? I've never been.
Yeah. And then I go to like my Vidster, and then I look for all the.
Pornhub's April Fool's Day joke was the best. It was a click that said, "Don't worry, we've now put on a feature so any video like can automatically be uploaded to your Facebook. Click now to let us know what you think." And I was like, "Oh wait." Not that I would actually care, but I'm also like, that would be really awkward if someone
I
was
would
like,
care.
"Alex is watching this video." And I'm like, "That's great, good job."
Especially if you're a college professor.
I know. That would be, yeah. I'm just a yoga teacher, so sometimes I want people to like know that I'm a deviant, fuck you kind of person, because I'm so over like these false pure people. Brahmana Sharia, I'm gonna read the Yoga Sutras and live a pure life. It's like, no, you're just married and you're boring and you're flexible and you can do a handstand.
Right.
And you just got your tarot cards yesterday.
Yeah.
You know. But whatever. I love when people try and tell me like how to do magic. I'm like, okay, great.
I haven't, like, 5 days out of the week, I don't eat sugar.
I don't want to be there.
Like,
I have a sugar addiction.
I do too. I feel like that's...
It's like my last addiction, you know? And as I break away everything else that I was, like, addicted to, and I'm, like, cutting those cords, then I'm, like, I see what remains at the core of it,
sugar
and it's
is like
food and
one
sugar.
of the hardest addictions to cut because of how our brain is
fucking
designed. Ancient survival strategy. Because before we could have processed sugar, it was like you would eat an apple, and your brain is programmed to want to remember that you need that apple because the next time you see it, you'll know, I have that apple. That's how our body stores fat. Before we had the opportunity to take excess amounts of fats in our body, and you didn't have a grocery store, and you had to like hunt for your food, and you might not encounter your meal for a while. You needed to have something to keep you fuel. So that apple. My mom doesn't eat sugar at all, or bread, or starch, and she, on her birthday, had like an apple. It was so cute. She was enjoying it so much. She's like, bye. And we'd have an apple, and then we had burgers, and like for dessert, we had ice cream and cheese curls. I was like, she's so cute. But she's doing so good with it. She's like really committing. But yeah, she said like sugar. She said an apple was like, it tasted like eating a pound of sugar. Like it was just so. And the ice cream was good, but it was like almost too much for her.
It's too sweet, yeah. That's where I need to get.
I felt like hungover when I did a sugar cleanse, and I had like
baby.
Thanksgiving dinner, and
This
the
is
next morning I was like,
This has got chocolate.
that's kind of how I feel if I take a break from weed and I smoke weed again. I'm like, I wake up the next morning and I'm like, I feel sad.
Weed hangover, yeah.
Oh, I've been having those.
I'm going to do Vipassana meditation on June 7th.
Nice.
So,
Is that your first time?
yes. I'm nervous, but I'm excited.
It's fine.
Have you done it?
Yeah.
10-day?
Yeah.
It's fine? You're just like, oh, it's no big deal?
I mean,
I
it's
think
it's
you're
gonna be
such
good.
a strong psychic constitution. You'll be.
it's
I think I can
it's
do
like
it. but
okay,
I'm
it's like
nervous.
by the end of it, you'll be like, okay, I went to purgatory, and now I decide to be a human again.
Okay. Do you have any advice for me?
I shouldn't say anything.
Okay, great. Perfect.
You should
It's
sneak a
rough.
journal.
It's rough, and it's like
That's what I'm feeling like.
it's rough, but it's nothing superhuman. There's
Here it's
nothing superhuman.
The opposite of it. You feel like overwhelmingly human. In a good way.
Have you done it?
No, you feel
I
like
trained in it, but I haven't done like the 10-day
you
training.
feel like it's like you feel like you're a human, and then they're trying to make you non-human. That's the whole thing.
It is so funny. She said when she did it, she brought her journal, her headphones, and she would do yoga.
Oh,
And
you
you're not
can't
supposed to
do
do it.
any
You're
of
not
that.
That she would what?
Do yoga. You're not supposed to do
You're not
yoga.
supposed to do any of that stuff.
You're not supposed to
you're
write.
not
You're not supposed to listen to music.
You
but
can do some yoga. You can do like a little bit of yoga,
Stretch.
like stretching, and like I would do like headstands.
I might have to give up headstands now.
Like I would do that kind of stuff just to like, yeah.
I like a good headstand.
Just but like the really good thing is to just you're a Pisces.
I'm
You're just gonna
sit in
like
it.
dive in deep,
Yeah.
and you're gonna deal with your shit.
Yeah.
And the thing is like you're not crazy if you need to burst out and start crying.
Great.
They just
Okay.
said he would have moments where he would laugh hysterically and he had to leave, excuse himself. But they make you.
That's what I had to do that too. And sometimes the guy would come out after me and be like, "What's happening?" And he's like, "Wait, are you okay?" He's like, yeah. And also like your speaking is gonna be very different, and you're gonna notice.
Look after.
Yeah,
Hmm.
for a while, your speech is gonna change.
That's
You're
cool.
gonna notice all these patterns.
Mhm. I'm excited and I'm nervous and I'm ready to do it. And I'm real excited because
Everybody should
I'm
do
gonna
it.
cut my sugar. Like it's gonna be complete sugar detox.
Their diet is not.
What do they feed you?
It's Ayurveda stuff.
Isn't it like prunes and oatmeal?
Yeah. So it's like there's a lot of
Pretty
honey.
sweet. Yeah.
So there's like a lot of sugar. Fruits, lots of fruits.
Yeah.
Like
But I guess
this is
it's-
like food with white sugar is such a different.
I gained weight,
Uh.
and you're not allowed to eat after noon.
Mhm.
I think that might be one of the toughest things. That might have been one of the toughest things for me.
The eating.
You can't eat after noon. So like I would stuff my face, like breakfast and lunch,
See, I feel like
and the waking up. Oh my!
that seems really hard. Yeah.
4:30
Yeah.
at max.
And I have a really bad sleeping schedule right now
No, we-
where I'm staying up really late and getting up really late. So
But
I
you'll
have
be
to
fine,
rework
though.
it.
See, I wake up at 4:30 Tuesday through Wednesday. I hate it, but
You're
it's
good at
like
it.
once you get used to it, it's nice.
I'm going to start practicing now.
Guys, look at this mug I bought today.
I was like, did you design that?
It's cool.
I want to make a line of like a whole like
You should
like
make a silverware that looks
homeware,
like
you
that.
know? What?
Your silverware will look so so cool.
Ugh, I really want to do that.
I'd like that.
You should design like a little tattoo that I could get done.
Oh, I would love to do that. That
Same.
sounds way more.
No.
good.
I think I
I
want to
love
get
it.
a tattoo. I wasn't ever really planning on getting color, but I kind of want to get like a rose, a lily with like cardinals and a skull. I don't know, I think that could be nice for my arm.
I love that. So tarot. I mean, the
Yeah.
roses and the lilies.
Well, the lily, my mom had a Reiki reading once, and my grandmother communicated with her that like one of us like is I'm a lily and my brother's a rose,
Aw,
No.
that's really beautiful.
and we see our grandparents in cardinals all the time. So
I think cardinals are angels too. That's really
Yeah.
interesting.
they're special beings.
Yeah, they really are. Thanks again to Victor and Alex for joining me on Tarot Electric. And thank you to all of the listeners out there. you can subscribe to Tarot Electric on iTunes, and you can rate and review. You can find me, your host, Mary Shock, at Tarot Electric on Instagram, and my website, maryshock.com. You can buy my tarot deck, the Summer Tarot Deck, on my website. You can like the Summer Tarot Deck Facebook page. You can join Be More Tarot Club, the Facebook group, to chat and get updates about any events that I'm doing. That is BMORE Tarot Club, and it's a Facebook group. And I would just love to see you all there. Many blessings.